Reborn back to the moment I was captured alive by my archrival. His hand rested on my chest, squeezing in disbelief again and again. In my previous life, I was so ashamed and furious that I thrust my spear, only to have my throat slit by his lieutenant. In this life, just as I tightened my grip on my spear, a row of bullet comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. Is this the male lead's white moonlight? So handsome, so beautiful. No wonder the male lead has been pining for him for half his life. Spare him, good sister. Calm down. The male lead knows you're a woman, and is about to kneel and kiss your toes. Your blessings are yet to come. If you die, that green tea adjutant disguised as a man next to you will take your place, spend your money, live in your house, steal your husband, and even hit your child. Let me tell you a secret. After you die, Senterji will even steal your corpse for a ghost marriage. I was startled by these absurd words and couldn't help but let out a low moan from my throat. Senterju's ears suddenly turned bright red. He seemed to understand something and stared at me intently, his handsome eyes wide and round. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now, the story begins. The emperor was gravely ill, and the crown prince and the prince of Yu were locked in a life and death struggle. They fought within the imperial city. Senterji and I fought at the foot of the imperial city. The squad I led fell into his ambush, outnumbered and overwhelmed. We had no choice but to retreat. Who would have thought that Senterji seemed to have clairvoyance? Chasing after me relentlessly to kill, capture Yi Linlang. The one in red armor is Yi Linlang. A heavy reward awaits whoever captures her. From far behind, I could hear him shouting as if mourning his own father. I glanced around and indeed, among the fleeing generals, I was the only one clad in red armor. Damn Senterji, this was tied on me by my mother herself before I left. With no other choice, I could only discard my armor and flee for my life. Capture Yi Linlang. The one with the pouch is Yi Linlang. So I threw away the pouch. Grab Yi Linlang. The one with the longest hair is Yi Linlang. The barrage didn't care whether I lived or died. They were already laughing uncontrollably. The last time I saw this kind of chase was when Ma Chao was chasing Cao Cao. Just you wait and see. Someone's going to run to pick up this armor pouch later. Cutting hair is great. Soon you'll become a married couple. I was so angry I could die. Can't Senterji pick a bad day to leave, so that the bad day turns into a good one? I think we should just seize the day. Stop barking, Senter, and take this spear. In a fit of rage, I reined in my horse, turned around, and fought him for 300 rounds. Senterji and I have been practicing martial arts together since we were young. In terms of skill, we're evenly matched. But today, I was at a disadvantage. It was all because of the sudden bad news from the palace this morning. The Prince of Yu's army had reached the city gates. With the battle intensifying, I grabbed my spear and left in a hurry, forgetting to bind my chest. The red armored breastplate that my mother had specially chased after me to fasten was left discarded by the roadside. During the fight, her clothes loosened, and the surging waves were quite inconvenient. Senterji glanced over and curled her lips. Oh, you've gotten smarter in just a few days, even hiding a concealed weapon. Let me see what good stuff you've got. He laughed wickedly and reached out to grab it. The next second, his expression changed drastically. Those beautiful eyes widened more and more, as he pinched in disbelief, again and again. And again, I couldn't dodge in time. Completely falling into his hands, my period was already approaching, and feeling the swelling pain from that area, I froze for a moment, my eyes nearly bursting with rage. A scholar prefers death to humiliation. If before, wanting to kill Senterji was just talk, now it was for real. I want Senterji dead. In my previous life, I broke free from the restraints, thrusting out a spear, only to have my throat slit by Senterji's deputy general. In this life, I still want to kill. But as I watch the scrolling bullet comments, my brows furrow deeply. The comments say that the deputy general who wants to kill me is a woman disguised as a man, and in the future, she will even rise to prominence and seize my family's estate. I glanced around and indeed noticed a deputy general with a slender figure and delicate willow leaf eyebrows, glaring at me with venomous hatred. Upon closer inspection, isn't that my half-sister Yi Muren? But shouldn't she be staying in the inner chambers? Living as a delicate young lady, how did she end up in Prince Yu's army, and even become a deputy general? Unfortunately, there was no time for me to think further. By the moat, the king of Yu's guards were so numerous that their banners blotted out the sun, each one glaring fiercely, eager to capture me and claim the reward, all because of a momentary impulse on my part. The entire army was now surrounded. Though the soldiers were already wounded, they were all men of unyielding spirit, waiting only for my command to fight to the death. Every soldier is precious. Calming down, I began to seek a way to break through. The barrage says Senterji likes me. Don't be ridiculous. We've been rivals since childhood. After meeting him, I swore I was using his lifespan. Seeing that I didn't believe it, The barrage of comments had me try this and that to verify. Their tricks are downright vicious. Even if they couldn't kill Center Ji, it would be satisfying just to disgust him a little. If it can change the course of the battle, that would be even better. I closed my eyes and steeled my heart. Under the watchful eyes of hundreds of soldiers, I fell heavily into Center Ji's embrace. Putting on a voice, I coquettishly scolded him in the most nauseating tone I had ever mustered in my life. You rascal, how embarrassing, everyone's watching. I nestled softly and sweetly into Center Ji's arms, seemingly delicate, yet I tightly held onto his hand. After all, judging by how much he was trembling, it's entirely possible he might get angry, raise his hand, and strike me down. With a loud clang, Center Ji's sword fell, his other hand slowly rose, and just as I thought he was going to strangle me, it wrapped around my waist. Damn it. Why does it feel like he's turning the tables? Blocked by him, I couldn't see the rapidly scrolling bullet comments, nodding yes, shaking no, falling for the archenemy Gogogo, truly worthy of the male lead. Accepting that my rival is in love with me setting in just 0.01 seconds, surpassing 1% of all rivals nationwide. Look how angry that strategist is. Serves you right. Who told you to write off the white moonlight so early, and you still want to replace him as general? Take a look in the mirror and see if you're even worthy. No, doesn't anyone think the male lead is blind? He didn't notice two women disguised as men right beside him. If I didn't tell you, could you tell that the deputy general beside the female lead is also a woman in male disguise? What, that deputy general who looks like Zhong Fei? I can't take this anymore. How is this any different from accidentally stumbling under a young couple's bed? The general's behind. So, are we just part of your play? Held tightly in my arms. Center Yu's neck visibly flushed red. Did he actually get so angry he changed color? If you're doing well, that's outrageous. If you're unfortunate, the whole world celebrates. I'm overjoyed. You're done for. Center go. Following the barrage's instructions, I pounded my chest with little fists, drew circles on the Adam's apple, and rubbed downward along the abs with dry friction. I don't know what I touched. Center Ji let out a muffled groan, her whole body convulsing uncontrollably, until finally her eyes rolled back and she passed out. Everyone present exchanged glances, seeing shock, confusion, and a trace of fear in each other's eyes. The soldiers in the distance were like melonless gossipers, hopping anxiously on their feet. Snapping back to reality, I swiftly grabbed the man by the collar, holding Center Ji to command the generals, retreat at once. Surely you don't wish to see your great general suffer endless humiliation, do you? Thus, a fierce battle was resolved without deploying a single soldier. Although the method wasn't exactly honorable, I don't want to recall the process. The soldiers' gazes toward me held not only respect but also a strange complexity. But there were no further casualties. For now, let's set aside matters of pride. Woo-woo. Returning to the main tent, I collapsed onto the chaise longue. The military advisor had been waiting here for a long time. Seeing me return, Yuan Qinghe's eyes lit up, and she immediately came over to sit close beside me. Her jade-white hand rested on my shoulder. Yuan Qinghe's voice was like my favorite crab roe pastry. I've heard all about it, young master. Today, you fought against overwhelming odds and emerged completely unscathed. Truly, your courage and strategy are admirable. Hey, it was nothing. I've never been one to take compliments well, and I slapped my thigh. Even if you'd given me 100 fewer men, I'd still have made Center Ji lose his way. I wonder what strategy you employed today, my lord. I would like to learn from it. Which stratagem is it to disgust someone to the point of fainting? I scratched my head. Let's just call it capture the ringleader first to capture all his followers. Tell me exactly how you captured him. Yuan Qinghe seemed particularly persistent today. How did you manage to capture him? I scratched my head and gave him a rough description, especially emphasizing the foolish look on Center Ji's face, flushed and red-necked after I grabbed him by the waist. You have no idea how stiff his body was when I held him and humiliated him, and his face was so red, like a monkey's butt. I touched his Adam's apple, rubbed his belly, and just with those two moves, he got so angry he started twitching and even fainted. Qinghe's hands grew even gentler, her palms gliding slowly down from my shoulders. Her soft breath brushed against my ear. Qinghe never knew that the young general enjoys playing like this. What to play? Yuan Qinghe was the strategist my mother assigned to me. When she brought him to me, she winked at me and said, Qinghe is skilled in medicine and understands people's hearts. It's just a pity that his body is weak and can't withstand much strain. Linlang, you'll have to be considerate of him. The man stood in the wind, his waist as slender and soft as a peach blossom that seemed as if it could be snapped with one hand. I nodded my head wildly like a tiger. Please bear with it. Please bear with it. The army is full of rough men. Heaven knows how much I adore this delicate little white flower. Yuan Qinghe truly lived up to my expectations, intelligent and perceptive. In battle, he is my strategist. When weary, he is my technician. His techniques are excellent, and he finds the pressure points accurately. I often seek him out for massages to relieve fatigue. The same holds true now. I waited for Yuan Qinghe to help me cover up with the animal skin, so I could have a good night's sleep. Before long, something indeed pressed down on me. Out of habit, I wrapped my arms around it. It was warm, soft, and carried a faint, pleasant scent of osman thus. No, I opened my eyes and unexpectedly fell into a pair of beautiful eyes. The narrow, fox-like eyes rippled with subtle waves. And the teardrop mole at the corner looked especially captivating. Yuan Qinghe bit her lip, her gaze gentle yet resolute. Qinghe is untalented, yet I have forced the young master to use himself as bait. I am willing to be the soap, to wash away those disgusting marks for you. Young master, tell me, where did he touch you? Is it here? Oh ho, work is dull, but my colleague is quite delicious. What a resentment that the bright moon hangs high yet does not shine on me alone. The envy in this young strategist's eyes is practically overflowing. This is a disciple of the divine physician Yuan Rui, willingly serving as a mere military strategist here. It must be true love. I remember in my previous life, after learning of the female lead's death, this strategist went to the Prince of Yu's army overnight and poisoned a whole group of people to accompany the sister in death. Quite the madman. Yuan Qinghe stared at me intently, leaving me no time at all to check the bullet comments. A delicate and charming little face, with flawless white skin peeking from the loosely fastened collar. I have indeed heard that there are men in the common folk who form sworn brotherhoods and keep male companions, but to make a move on him, forget it. It somehow feels like bullying. I appreciate Qinghe's kindness, but that Senterji has already suffered greatly, which has eased the hatred in my heart. Young master, are you saying I'm not strong enough to carry a burden? How could that be? Qinghe is like a sacred flower, to be admired from afar but not to be profaned. As we were caught in this back and forth, the tent flap was suddenly thrown open. The soldier looked at me, then at Yuan Qinghe, who was draped over me, and was so frightened that he choked back his words, dropped the tent flap, and left without saying a thing. I quickly pushed Yuan Qinghe away and called out to stop him. I tried to explain, though it felt a bit like a cover-up. The weather is getting cold, and the military advisor and I were having a heart-to-heart talk. He was exhausted, so I covered him with a blanket. Perfectly reasonable, right? You should also pass down the order to make sure all the troops keep warm. All right, all right, all right. The man fled in a panic, not even choosing his path. When giving the order, he was still quite shaken. The general has ordered that since the weather has turned cold, an extra blanket should be added. The general has ordered that since the weather is getting cold, someone should come and warm his bed. The general commands, capture a prisoner to warm his bed. Not long after, General, as you instructed, the prisoner to warm your bed has been brought. He is now outside the main tent, waiting to serve you tonight. Me, Startled from my deathbed, I sat bolt upright. He lifted the tent flap. Inside, Senterji was wrapped in a quilt, her delicate shoulder half exposed, with a murderous expression on her face. She looked exactly like a concubine awaiting the emperor's favor. A wave of ha flooded the bullet comments. Is this the legendary case of getting all the answers right despite messing up the entire process? The messy code produced the correct result. Senterji. A duel in the prisoner camp, winner gets to share the bed. The thought of so many people coveting my wife makes me unhappy. The thought of my wife summoning a prisoner to warm her bed makes me even more unhappy. When he saw me, Senterji grinned, his smile somewhat unsettling. You were so smooth holding me during the day. Turns out General Yi treats prisoners this well at night. I wonder what the princess in the capital would think if she found out. Sure enough, the moment he opened his mouth, he started spewing nonsense. I kicked out with my foot, without any evidence. You're just spreading rumors. The next second, the curtain was drawn. The military advisor's face was flushed as he adjusted his loose outer robe. Considerate and meticulous. Young master, please do not be angry. What if you harm your health? He lifted Senterji's chin with a fan. It's your blessing to serve the young master. Since you're not much to look at, you'll have to put in extra effort later. Understand? No. What is this all about? What do you all say about me when you're outside? I was so furious that I immediately went to find the soldier who had delivered the message. If you didn't hear clearly, then go ask for clarification. Don't spread false rumors and slander me. Those soldiers had probably never seen their boss's boss, and they were so frightened they immediately dropped to their knees, with tears, stammering, General, I was wrong. I've had poor eyesight since I was a child. And I couldn't hear clearly. General, I was wrong. I have a people-pleasing soldier personality. I don't dare question my superiors and always pretend I understand everything. Boo-hoo. Whatever. What can you do? They're my own soldiers. By the time I returned to the tent, Yuan Qinghe had already left. Center Ji had long since emerged from under the covers and was now standing by my bed, seemingly holding some object in her hand. Seeing me return, he curled his lips and looked over. In his hand, he was holding a small figurine. Well, Yi Linlang, I never expected that someone who looks so honest and upright would actually keep my figurine hidden under their pillow all along. Only then did I notice that the wooden box beside the pillow had been opened by him. Center Ji held a doll that was a scaled-down replica of him, playing with it left and right, occasionally bringing it to the tip of his nose for a gentle sniff. His smile was strangely unsettling. I've finally figured it out. You may seem confrontational and harsh toward me, but in reality, you fall asleep every night looking at my miniature figure. This must be what they call thinking of someone day and night, unable to forget them. It truly shows that our childhood bond wasn't in vain. What is he even saying? Is this guy copying my moves and starting to disgust me now? Well, he's succeeded. I stepped forward and snatched the doll, frowning with displeasure as I said irritably, "Stop flattering yourself, will you? All along the way with you, there's been no childhood sweetheart, it's been nothing but spring bamboo and plum horses. Open your eyes wide and look carefully, there are needles stuck in it. That was the voodoo doll I meticulously crafted, deliberately made to resemble Center Ji. Every night before bed, I would aim silver needles at its vital points, stab you to death. Only by venting my hatred could I fall asleep peacefully." I locked the doll back into the box, grumbling with lingering resentment. "Who knew your life would be so tenacious? I've already ruined 18 voodoo dolls, yet you're completely unscathed. Truly, the wicked live for 1,000 years. You're mistaken, Linlang." A man's voice came from behind, after a rustle of fabric. When he turned around, Center Ji was left with only a pair of undergarments loosely hanging on his body. His bronze muscles, glistening with a sheen as if roasted, shimmered brilliantly in the candlelight. His gaze was deep and dangerous, his voice hoarse. He spoke word by word. "It's not just my life that's hard." Before I could react, the barrage went wild. "Wow, I'm totally into this. A 120 centimeters chest circumference is the best dowry a man can have. Oh no. It's the feeling of the right atrium receiving venous blood from the whole body, pumping it out through the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery, where the blood is still venous at this point. Then undergoing gas exchange in the lungs to become oxygen-rich arterial blood, which is sent through the veins to the left atrium, and finally pumped through the left ventricle's aorta to the entire body. Rolls. I'm a bit socially anxious. Please fill me with social confidence. I bought a cake but seems like I forgot to take a fork. Could you mail a fork to me? You know it's impossible to eat cake without a fork." Before I could figure out the barrage of comments, the man had already approached me. I didn't understand what he meant, so I looked down and then showed a contemptuous smile. "You've learned to be clever, hiding a weapon in your crotch. Do you think I wouldn't be prepared?" Before the words had even finished, I saw him raise both hands and shake them twice. I frowned, completely baffled. What kind of hidden weapon is this that can move left and right without using hands? When I finally realized what was happening, my cheeks flushed bright red. "Damn it, I thought of you as my rival, but you actually want to." I pressed the gun against his chest and warned him harshly, "Damn sodomite, stay away from me, it's getting cold. Put on more clothes, don't let your money-making parts freeze. If you're really that desperate, go back to your own tent and polish your scabbard." For some reason, today he didn't seem interested in trading barbs with me at all. He looked at me, focused and serious. He uttered a few short words. "Today. Either you stab me to death, or I stab you to death." Perhaps the candlelight tonight was too dim. I actually read a trace of an unprecedented and inexplicable emotion in his eyes. My heart skipped a beat, my hands trembled slightly. For some reason, the spear tip that had easily pierced through hard armor in the past was now powerless even against tender flesh. The man with the gun pressed against him forced me to step back. Step by step, I swallowed hard, trying to come up with some words to argue. What have I done to you, all these years? Haven't we always treated each other with courtesy, going back and forth? What are you so upset about? That's because I didn't know you were a woman." He gripped the spearhead and gave it a fierce tug. The next second, I practically crashed into his embrace. A dull sound exploded beside my ear. "All these years, I thought I was hopelessly bent, fighting with you day and night, trying to drive you out of my mind. I even considered requesting a transfer to the frontier just so I'd never have to see you again. Do you even have a heart? Yi Linlang, you've been lying to me since the very first time we met. Center Ji and I are about the same age. Back when we first entered the private school, this rascal was my desk mate. On the first day of class, he didn't look at the teacher, didn't look at his book, just kept staring blankly at me. He looked like he wasn't very bright. Coincidentally, he had the kuju ball I liked in his hand, so I got the idea to tease him and secretly said to him, Let me tell you a secret, I actually have a twin sister. Unfortunately, my family is too poor to support both of us, so we take turns attending school. One day each, his eyes lit up upon hearing this, and he nodded thoughtfully. The next day, as soon as Sentoji arrived, she mysteriously pulled me into a corner and handed me a box of exquisite pastries. Don't be afraid, little sister, your brother has already told me everything about you too, don't worry. I'll keep your secret. I brought you Tianxiang Lu's crab-flavored pastries. They're incredibly delicious, you should try them quickly. I felt quite pleased with myself. The guy actually bought it, so I took the opportunity to step down gracefully, took a bite of the fresh, fragrant, and crispy pastry, and gave him a sweet smile. Thank you, brother, I still want to play Kuju. Sentoji was taken aback. Here, take it all, whatever else you want to play, I'll bring it all to you. From then on, every time Sentoji saw me, he would casually produce some snacks or toys that I liked. Each time, I pretended to be surprised, covering my mouth in admiration. Wow. How did you know I like these? Wow, could it be that you can read minds? Sentoji smiled mysteriously, looking quite profound. Though we lack the colorful wings of a phoenix to fly side by side, our hearts are connected by a single thread of understanding. My brother doesn't possess any mind-reading art, it's simply that you and I are destined to be together, our souls in perfect harmony. Sentoji always used the excuse of fate to deceive me, stirring both reverence and admiration in my heart. The next day, as soon as he saw my brother, he would frantically bow with clasped hands. Please, my good friend, dear brother, just tell me, your sister mentioned yesterday that the plum blossom pastry was a bit too sweet and she's grown tired of it. What kind of cake does she fancy now? As she spoke, she stuffed silver coins into my arms, along with exquisitely carved toys like spinning tops and dove carts. And so, one day I would eat snacks, and the next I would play with toys. I was overjoyed and delighted beyond measure, until one day, Sentoji's mother brought him to my house for a visit, saying she wanted to meet the Yi Linlang that Sentoji had been constantly talking about. When he learned from my mother that the Yi family truly had only one son, me, the sky seemed to collapse. He gritted his teeth in fury, looked up to the heavens, and roared that he would be my sworn enemy for life. We went from being the closest brothers in the eyes of outsiders to the greatest of enemies. The 6 arts of a gentleman: rights, music, archery, charioteering, calligraphy, and mathematics. He always competes with me in everything. I excel in science and am skilled in calculation. He has sharp eyesight and is proficient in archery and horsemanship. He chased me on horseback until I fell flat on my face. I hit him hard on the head with an abacus. As we grew older, our families pledged allegiance to different masters. The Yi family sided with the crown prince, while his family followed the Prince of Yu. Outside the city walls, weapons clashed. Oh, I did deceive you. I enjoy deceiving you. What of it? If you've done it, own up to it. That's what mother taught. I admitted it openly, fearless and unashamed. After all, he was in my army. No matter how furious he got, what could he possibly do to turn the world upside down? A fierce fight might break out soon. My fingertips already reaching for the dagger hidden in my bosom. Who would have thought that after hearing this, Sentoji remained silent for a long time, and when she finally snapped out of it, she just calmly said, "Got it, huh, that's it." Soon, I began to sense something was off. If you have something to say, say it. Why the hell are you undoing my belt? He looked at me with an expression that said, stop pretending, even though you've deceived me for a long time. I'm a magnanimous person and won't hold it against you. Now that I'm your captive, if you insist on having your way, it's not entirely out of the question. What the hell is this? What are you talking about? It's all jumbled up. I can't understand. Was that what Linlang just said? Yeah, I said it. So what? I couldn't figure it out, but the bullet comments solved it for me. Baby, have you tried breaking the characters apart? As expected of the male lead, top-tier comprehension. Isn't this just like throwing meat buns at a dog? In a flash, I understood. No, 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 I cried out anxiously. I kicked out with my foot, but he caught my ankle. Got it, I'll be more careful with my words. Sentoji pulled me toward him abruptly, but the next second, his expression suddenly turned serious as he stepped in front of me. Who's there? As he spoke, a short figure clad in black leaped down from the rooftop. The newcomer bowed respectfully to Sentoji. I am under orders to come and rescue the general. The barrage comments seethed with frustration. What perfect timing. If the strategist doesn't arrive soon, you two will have already cooked the raw rice into a meal. Right now, not only is the white moonlight not dead, but their true gender has been exposed in front of the male lead. With these two so deeply in love, what role is left for the strategist? No wonder she's so anxious. Before I could react, a silver dart shot straight toward me. In the blink of an eye, Sentoji actually caught the dart with his bare hand. The man in black stared at his blooded hand, seemingly stunned. Seizing the opportunity, I picked up the sword from the ground and thrust it forward. This man was exceptionally skilled with hidden weapons. But unfortunately, his martial arts were mediocre, and his positioning awareness was far from comprehensive. Combined with the analysis from the bullet comments, I tentatively called out, "Is that you, Murin?" It wasn't until I was 10 that I learned I had a younger sister named Yi Murin. She was the result of my father's visit to a brothel. When my mother found out, she was furious and locked her in the woodshed, forbidding anyone from visiting. Once, while secretly bringing her food, I caught a glimpse of the fire starter she had hidden away. Late the next night, the woodshed went up in flames, fanned by the wind. By morning only the charred frame remained. Mother was convinced that Yi Murin had deliberately set the fire, leading outsiders to speculate that the esteemed princess was so consumed by jealousy that she would burn her own stepdaughter. She was beaten half to death. Her father knelt in the snow for 3 days and 3 nights before he finally won her forgiveness. And he hired a rather strict governess for Yi Murin. She was taught the 8 elegant arts for women: poetry, wine, flowers, tea, zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. When I was a child, while studying and practicing martial arts in the courtyard, I often heard heart-wrenching cries coming from the other side of the wall. I secretly went to see her, bringing her medicine, but she always drove me away, along with the medicine. Gradually, the crying grew softer until it could no longer be heard. It is said that she has grown into an elegant and graceful woman, skilled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Later, I joined the military and never heard from her again. Although we hadn't seen each other for a long time, I believed our relationship was still good after all. Blood is thicker than water. But that person did not respond, only letting out a cold laugh. "General Yi, don't go making wild accusations. I'm just a commoner. How could I possibly know someone as noble as you?" "General Center, His Highness has ordered me to rescue you immediately." Center Ji draped her outer robe over her shoulders and waved her hand impatiently. "Go and tell His Highness that I am in no danger here and will return on my own in a few days." But His Highness said, "The military order is as unyielding as a mountain. Do you dare to defy it?" The man's expression shifted, and in the end, he could only lower his voice unwillingly. "I wouldn't dare." A bullet comment hit the nail on the head. "It's not that you don't dare, but that you can't. A strategist can harm the female lead and take her place, but must not lay a hand on the son of fortune, Center Ji, or she won't be able to survive in this world." "Wait, isn't the female lead the protagonist? Why is it acceptable to harm her at will?" "As expected, the heavenly Tao is unjust to me, all because I'm not male." But after the man in black left, Center Ji not only didn't go back, but also stayed in my tent. In his words, he was injured and couldn't leave. I asked him where he was injured. He puffed out his chest, that fiery, pure heart of a young boy. For some reason, Center Ji and Yuan Qinghe couldn't stand the sight of each other. We were originally sitting at the same table, eating peacefully. Whenever I served Yuan Qinghe some food, Center Ji would either knock my chopsticks away or kick Yuan Qinghe's stool out from under her. A table full of delicious dishes was left in a complete mess. I was so angry that I slammed the table. Yuan Qinghe quickly came over to massage my shoulders and help me calm down. She then served Center Ji another bowl of soup. "General Center, you're so angry. Come, have a bowl of loofah soup to cool down. If the general looks down on this humble countryman, just say it straight. I will leave the table and join the soldiers to eat and drink." "How can that be?" I held Qinghe's hand with a pained heart. "You're so delicate and weak. How could you possibly compete with those animals out there? Besides, ever since you arrived, you've been eating with me. Why should you give up your seat for someone who came later?" Then he turned to glare furiously at Center Ji. "Center Ji, if you want to eat, then eat. If not, get lost. Who do you think you're giving attitude to?" Center Ji's face flushed red and pale in turns. Looking at our clasped hands, he threw down his chopsticks and really stormed off. The barrage of comments burst into laughter. To be honest, we strong women just love watching this kind of male rivalry. The younger brother has no money, the older brother lacks energy. I think Center Ji is quite good, 20 years old and already a general. As for that strategist, he seems too delicate and weak. Maybe he'd be better suited for a for loves dynamic. Yes, for love sounds great. The female lead looks fierce and dependable, very reassuring. Center Ji spent the whole night outside the tent wondering where he went wrong. In the end, he didn't figure it out, he just ran out of night. That night, I received a letter from my mother. My mother is the emperor's sister, the princess of Pingyang. Ever since the emperor fell seriously ill, she has been attending to him by his side. This time, the message she sent back was unusually brief. "My son, you love to learn. Do you remember the first poem your mother taught you?" The first poem. My mother taught me countless poems since childhood, but this first one, I truly can't recall it at the moment. As usual, I burned the letter. Just as I was lost in thought, Footsteps suddenly approached outside the tent. The soldier rushed to my tent, panting heavily. "General, it's terrible. Prince Yu. His Highness Prince Yu has arrived." "Prince Yu? How could he possibly be here?" The mother is the biological sister of the current emperor, so naturally she stands on the crown prince's side. As for the Prince of Yu, he was born during the emperor's pleasure-seeking trip to Jiangnan, and whether he is of royal blood remains questionable. After the news of the emperor's critical illness spread, he rushed back to the capital on horseback from his fief. A prince is not allowed to return without a summons. What he did is no different from rebellion. The Center family has been staunch supporters of the emperor in both court and public affairs over the past 2 years. Unexpectedly, this time they are actually working for Prince Yu. The barrage seemed to notice my confusion. Little sister doesn't know yet, but the crown prince isn't actually of royal blood. Back when the imperial consort gave birth, her child was stillborn, so they had no choice but to find a male infant from outside the palace. This boy was born evil. Since childhood, he bullied palace maids and took pleasure in torturing animals. As he grew older, he became even worse, exploiting the common people and killing without hesitation. The Prince of Yu did indeed become king, and the Center family bet correctly. That scheming woman knew the truth, so she had long since pledged her allegiance to the Prince of Yu. That's why she became the Yi family's hero and later replaced the female lead to marry the male lead. That despicable scheming woman actually exposed the fact that little sister is a girl. This time, the Prince of Yu came precisely to use this as leverage to control the Yi family for his own purposes. If that little sister agrees, wouldn't she become a traitor too? What traitor? History is written by the victors. This is called having a discerning eye. I was reading the bullet comments when the curtain was suddenly pulled open. The person who entered was wearing a 5-clawed python robe. I quickly knelt and bowed. Lin Lang pays respects to Uncle Prince. The Prince of Yu remained silent, allowing the general beside him to take me into custody, and said coldly, "Search." Soon, a long cloth was thrown before me. Prince Yu smiled at me. "My good nephew." "Oh no, it should be, good niece." "Ah, what did uncle say?" "He didn't ask, I didn't tell, he asked." And I was surprised. He's a prince, but my mother is a princess. When I was little, I even peed in the emperor's arms. Besides, this is the Yi family's camp. We show him respect because he's an elder. If it really comes to a fight, we're not afraid either. The Prince of Yu smiled without speaking, but those around him could no longer stand by. Nonsense. This is clearly a woman's breast-binding cloth. The renowned General Yi, the infamous playboy of the capital, the commander of an entire army, is actually a woman. Your Yi family has deceived the emperor above and the people below. Who knows what schemes you harbor in commanding the Yi army? Surrender at once. The one speaking was none other than my dear younger sister, Yi Muren. She pointed at my nose and angrily scolded me, unable to hide the smugness in her eyes. "Your Highness, I think it would be better to imprison this woman and subject her to severe torture until she reveals the truth." The barrage comments are furious. What's wrong with women? Women hold up half the sky. Damn, this is the first time I've seen someone insult themselves. Have you been assimilated after just a short time in ancient times? Or is your brain filled with nonsense? Have you forgotten that you're also a woman? If I were my Bao, I'd rush up and tear her clothes off to see who's biting the hand that feeds them. I remained silent, just consulting the strategist, Qinghe. "How many infantry does my Yi family army have?" Reporting, "General, 5,000. Ballisti." Reporting, "General, 50 units. Ballista bolts." Reporting, "General, 15,000 bolts." I looked towards the Prince of Yu. "Uncle, what did you just say?" It's so much easier to talk with intelligent people. Before Yi Muren was thrown into prison, he still refused to accept his fate and continued to shout defiantly, "Why are you arresting me? She really is a woman. Everything I said is true. I provided information, I should be rewarded. This is unfair." She didn't understand. Whether I am a woman or not is completely irrelevant. What truly matters is that my status and abilities have risen to a point where people can no longer afford to be concerned about my gender. The Prince of Yu needs me. The reason I agreed to the Prince of Yu was not only because I had long despised the Crown Prince, who treated human lives as worthless as grass, but also because I remembered the first poem my mother ever taught me. Step by step, I climb and climb, ascending all the way to the mountain's peak. Raising my head, the red sun hangs low, white clouds drift beneath, all lakes and seas lie within a single gaze. At that time, my mother was holding my hand as we walked along the path leading to the palace hall. Reaching the highest point, she picked me up and looked down at the palace walls. Eunuchs and palace maids bustled about busily. Upon seeing us, they all dropped what they were doing, trembling as they knelt in rows. "Ling Lang, smell it, the scent of power. Isn't it fragrant and beautiful? The most precious power is only worthy of the most outstanding individuals. That person is like the sun above us. They can stand at the highest point, shining upon and nurturing all things, yet they are also willing to lie dormant at the lowest point, awaiting the next ascent, in the future. Whether you wish to be the sun or the one who assists the sun in rising, do not forget your mother's words. Mother has always been well informed. She must have already learned about Prince Yu's return to the capital, and compared to being trapped in the palace, I yearn more for the grasslands. So the new son can only be Prince Yu. Fortunately, the bullet comments all said I didn't bet wrong. Sentaji was released from Prince Yu's command and walked up the familiar palace steps alongside me. Unexpectedly, the Golden Luan Hall was already stained with blood. It turned out that the crown prince, seeing the emperor critically ill, had launched a palace coup first. He had already slaughtered all the eunuchs and palace maids he could, and when we arrived, he was about to turn on the noble relatives. My mother held her sword against him, and when she saw me, her eyes instantly reddened. The crown prince glared furiously at the Prince of Yu, who had rushed from afar, and raised his blade to strike, but I kicked him to the ground. In the next moment, Sentaji took over my move. Linlang, let me handle this. Don't tire yourself out. I was furious. Who do you think you're looking down on? Get lost. This is a chance to gain merit from serving the dragon. Do you think I'm stupid enough not to seize it? One shot, one rebel. Sentaji was also as if pumped with adrenaline, slashing left and right. We were like back in school, determined to outdo each other. The barrage of comments was just as excited as we were. The Xuanwu Gate duel, winner takes the crown. The Fragrant Mountain Temple showdown, loser becomes the rebel. Yeah, just a small rebellion. We've got this. The death knell tolled, the dust has settled. Yi Muren was returned to the Yi family to be dealt with as they saw fit. Behind closed doors, she knelt together with her father. You wretched girl clearly intended to bring ruin upon the Yi family. Before, Prince Yu had need of us and didn't mind that Linlang was a woman, but now, he has ascended the throne. Do you think he won't settle scores when the time comes? I thought to myself, Mother, didn't you just grab the new emperor by the ear and give him a beating? But seeing her terrifying expression, I swallowed my words. She lashed out with a whip, striking my father. When I gave birth to Linlang, your mother harmed my foundation, and I could no longer bear children. Linlang is my only child in this lifetime. My child is outstanding, skilled in both literature and martial arts. I sent her to the army, and she even became a general. If this wretched creature ruins her future, I swear I'll make the two of you regret ever being born. My father was so terrified that he nodded like pounding garlic, not daring to utter a single word, and dragged Yi Muren to kowtow repeatedly. Who would have thought that Yi Muren, with his unyielding pride, stubbornly stood straight and defiantly said, "On what grounds?" My mother didn't react for a moment. "You little brat, what did you say?" She widened her eyes. I said, "Why? I'm also surnamed Yi. I'm also a woman. Why can Yi Linlang achieve great things, while I have to be confined to the inner chambers, learning etiquette, calligraphy, and painting, only to be married off to some random old man? I refuse to accept this. I know you dislike me, just because I'm not your biological child, but if one could choose their parents, who wouldn't want to pick someone with power and influence? I lost because I couldn't choose my birth. Because I don't have powerful parents to arrange everything for me." She glared at me fiercely, the venom in her eyes almost overflowing. I finally understood the source of her hatred toward me. If she can't have it, she'll destroy it. Is that really how it was? The bullet comments appeared just in time to explain to me. The strategist's task is to stay by the male lead's side and participate in major events that drive this world forward, thereby absorbing the male lead's luck. This particular strategist has malicious intentions, choosing to kill the sister to take her place, but there are actually other methods, such as staying by the male lead's side as an advisor or something similar. The current situation is that the male lead ignores her, and she failed to participate during the palace coup. All her tasks have failed, which is why she's breaking down. Sister, don't overthink it. This kind of person blames everyone else but refuses to admit their own faults, like a mad dog biting at everything around them. I nodded, lost in thought. Even if Lin Muren had countless faults, but there was one thing she said that was right. I slowly walked to her side and said, word by word, "You're right. Who says women can't fight on the battlefield? Who says women should just stay in their chambers? But perhaps you don't know, when I joined the Lin family's army, I didn't reveal my true identity. What does it matter if I'm the legitimate son of the Yi family, or a woman? I am who I am. I want my most authentic self to undergo trials and tempering." At first, there were indeed many discomforts. The army is full of rough, foul-mouthed brutes. Today you bump into me. Tomorrow I shove you. If there's a disagreement, we settle it in the training grounds. But after being knocked down time and again, with jeers ringing in my ears and my face pressed into the dirt by their filthy boots, all my fastidiousness, my disdain, My rigid adherence to propriety between men and women vanished. I just wanted to win. From being beaten black and blue, to making others kneel and beg for mercy, it took me 5 years. Later, many people joined the Yi family army. Drawn by the reputation of me, General Linlang, seeing her look of disbelief, I sighed. I might as well tell you, I have 10 deputy generals, 3 of whom are actually women, and the number in the army is even greater. They are what ordinary men call abandoned wives, lowly women, and prostitutes. They couldn't survive outside, so they were forced to come to the military camp. In the army, they do the work that men refuse to do. Since then, the stables have been spotless. The war horses well-fed and strong, and the provisions orderly. In battle, I trust them the most. They are clear-minded, disciplined, and never conceal the truth. They are women, and women cannot join the army. Day and night, they live in fear, and only through the baptism of blood have they made themselves strong and reliable. Like mountains. Do you think anyone in the army has discovered their true identities? Why has no one exposed them? Yi Muren, your vision is clouded by power. You fail to see these golden qualities in others, only seeking to climb up by stepping on their shoulders. From the moment I was born, my gender has been male, Mother said. As the child of a true princess, I could even become the emperor. Her entire life was confined within the capital city. She wanted me to be like a steed in the wind, free and unbound for a lifetime, beholding all the splendid blossoms. And indeed, I have seen them all, those blossoms, standing firm against the wind and rain, rising proudly under the scorching sun, striving to grow away from the shelter of the great tree. Those unyielding, tenacious, and dazzlingly beautiful flowers are what I want to protect the most right now. Perhaps we may never leave our names in the annals of history as women, but in life, we only seek to look up without shame to heaven, and look down without shame to others. A clear conscience is enough. The new emperor was more benevolent than expected. My family claimed it was the ravings of a mad illegitimate daughter, but in truth, I am actually a man, and he truly believed it. Yi Muren was beheaded, and I returned to the Yi family army. Oh hey, I can go to the battlefield and kill the enemy again. Sentaji came to greet me. The young man wore a 3-pronged purple gold crown on his head, a red brocade robe embroidered with 100 flowers, and his face was beaming with joy. Even the scabbard at his waist seemed to shine brighter. He circled around me from a distance a few times before suddenly noticing me, then lightly spurred his horse, Delu, and trotted toward me. However, before he could reach me, Yuan Qinghe rode over slowly on a small white horse. Young master, the madam said the borderlands are dangerous and asked me to accompany you there. Why should you accompany Linlang? I am the young master of the center family. Yi Linlang's good elder brother. I should be the one to accompany her. Stop arguing. I slapped my forehead. Let's all go together. On the way, Sentaji kept apologizing to me. I wasn't having any of it. Sorry is useless. If you really want to apologize, then live a miserable life for me to see. Linlang, the Center and Yi families have always belonged to opposing factions. Our relationship has been as hostile as fire and water. These past 2 years, we've each had our own difficulties. Come on, I don't see any difficulties on your part. You're just busy making things hard for me. The barrage of comments expressed impatience on his behalf. Guys shouldn't always talk about their hardships, they should talk more about being virgins. Hey, the male lead's advantage lies in his physique, not his mouth. Isn't that the opposite of the other one? I didn't give him a good look the whole way, like a cold queen. When we reached the border, we discovered the situation here was extremely harsh. The nomadic tribes from the north had no fixed settlements and would frequently raid and plunder food and cloth from the border regions. We set up camp on the spot. From time to time, we had to go out in the middle of the night to drive away bandits. Unfortunately, as we were not very familiar with the local terrain, Sentaji and I got lost. To make matters worse, I was hit by an arrow. The arrow must have been coated with some kind of drug. As my mind grew increasingly hazy, with great effort, I opened my eyes and found myself back in the main tent. Yuan Qinghe's gaze was heavy. Young master, you've been drugged with an aphrodisiac. You must be with someone. General Center is already prepared. After saying this, Sentaji was washed clean. Like a pure suckling pig, poised and ready on the side, I blushed and struggled, but Yuan Qinghe had already restrained my hands and feet. Young master, this poison must be cured by a vigorous virgin man. Rest assured, I will supervise him to be gentle and take precautions. Everything will be based on your comfort. The man, as radiant as a clear sky after rain, had his clothes half undone, his skin flushed with passion, making the scars left on the battlefield inexplicably alluring. I think I must have been drugged. Even the curses in my mouth felt sluggish. When did Sentaji become so irresistible? The barrage erupted in cheers. Dis 1 second, kiss the next. Baby girl, isn't it tiring to curse while catching your breath? Let me take over. Even if my rival is dead, I'd still kiss his head, my white moonlight. Please turn yellow on the spot. I can't handle this. This male supporting character is just too considerate, even though he's not capable himself. For the sake of baby girl's health, he held back with red-rimmed eyes. Senta, my brother who went through life and death with me is about to be born and died by me. Hey, yeah, I was watching the good part. Why is it censored? Am I, a distinguished VIP member, not worthy of seeing what happens next? The comments are right. Senta is indeed delicious, like a cow. With just one look, the stir-frying starts at full blast. Yuan Qinghe was by my side the whole time. Holding a picture album in one hand and a porcelain bottle in the other, occasionally adding some ingredients, the corners of my eyes gradually became moist. The sensation was beyond intoxicating. Delicious. After this, Senta acknowledged Yuan Qinghe's presence. Having someone who knows your background to talk with you is better than you going out to find a pretty boy. Hey, the strategist said he came up with a new idea today. Since we're off duty today, why don't we discuss it a bit? I watched him blush and secretly gritted my teeth. You better be talking about a proper solution. 3 years later, Senta and I had a daughter. I named her Yi Yingming. Never say a woman is not a hero. Every night the sword on the wall cries out. To the outside world, she still maintained the identity of a man. Need a chest binder, but no foot binding. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, firecrackers exploded, filling the house with red blessings. Yingming, wearing the new padded jacket that Yuan Qinghe had specially tailored for her, was bundled up like a little candid hawthorn stick, coming to wish us a happy new year. She bowed to me and said loudly, "Dad, red envelope +1. Then she bowed to Senta and said obediently, "Little dad, red envelope +1 more." Finally, she gave Yuan Qinghe a sweet smile. "Little daddy." The barrage was completely charmed. So adorable, such a tiny little thing. I just want to sit on it and squish it to death. I really can't handle this nickname of theirs. Little daddy sounds more like a snack than a title. I almost thought the baby was going to be named Yuan Qinghe's mother. Scared me to death. In this lifetime, I want to marry into a man like Yuan Qinghe. Which direction should I bow to make it happen? After paying New Year's visits, Yi Yingming collected several red envelopes and candies. Then hopped and skipped off to find the other children in the army. The Yi family army had set up a dedicated childcare tent to look after the children of the military officers and soldiers. Perhaps it's in their blood. Even though they could rest on the first day of the Lunar New Year, the children still voluntarily appeared at the training ground. They quickly put down their candies and joined in. Some of the children looked valiant, others delicate, all sporting identical little boy top knots. Their small fists cutting through the air with vigor. Watching the new sunrise, I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. When will the world truly achieve great harmony? Women no longer need to disguise themselves as men. You can live openly and proudly as a woman. The world is no longer monochrome. It can be dazzling and resplendent with endless variety. Although it takes more than a single day to freeze 3 feet of ice, but the blazing embers beneath the frozen soil begin with our generation. Like a snake's trail hidden in the grass, the vein runs 1,000 miles. I earnestly hope that one day, the flames will spread across the plains, enduring and thriving forever. The end.